What's up, it's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my September wrap up. We have the handy dandy skull at your service. If you're new here, I do my wrap-ups. I've been doing my wrap-ups for over 2 years now in the form of the reread, rewrite, burn tag format, method, whatever you want to call it. Basically, we do our recap, right? Which I didn't fill out in my bullet journal, so that's great. We're gonna wing it. And then I have all the titles that I read in the month on little slips of paper that I pick out 3 at a time from this skull. If you've been here a while, you know it used to be a stitch mug, but now it's a skull. And I say whether I would reread, rewrite, or burn the books that I pick. If that's confusing, I'm sorry. Y'all will see how it goes once we actually start. So, with this recap, September was a wild month. Mentally, awful. Reading wise, it got better, but it was shaky for a while. I usually have a recap page. I did a Tim Burton theme for my reading journal this month. I didn't even fill out the more books page because there were no more books, but I still got a decent amount read. See that? Also, sorry, this lighting is weird. I'm using artificial lighting today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 23 books in September. So 23 books in 30 days. Not bad. Okay, not my best, but not bad. I'm okay with crossing 20. I'm okay with crossing 15, honestly, but 23 is good. Pages read, I did not calculate, but it was a lot because there were many days where I read over 200 pages or way over 100 pages, you know. Some were like in the 300s. I just didn't add it all up this month. It's literally hit or miss when it comes to me actually counting them all up because I feel like that's the one that matters the least in my stats. Again, if you know me, I've had a daily goal of 100 pages a day for years now, and most of the time I do hit it. I do everything I can to hit it. If I don't hit my 100-page goal for the day, that's when you know it's a bad mental health day. The number of BIPOC authors. Okay, I'm already embarrassed, but we're gonna count anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 23 books. We're just gonna take a moment of silent reflection. I'm already doing better in October, okay? Because I'm making sure the first week of October is all BIPOC authors. We are trying on this channel, okay? I need no further comments or questions. Best book, Mayfly by CJ Leeds. Some of y'all already know this. I haven't shut up about this book. I made Joey read it immediately after me. I tabbed so much for this book. To hell and back I tabbed. I knew I was gonna love it. I didn't know it was gonna be my favorite of the month. I didn't know I was gonna be thinking about the scenes that happened in this book for weeks. I loved it. I love the feminist discussions. I love the random like one-liners that had like feminist undertones. Just the writing in general. Some people like hate the writing. That's the worst part of this book for them, but I loved it. Like, it worked for me. And our main character is unhinged and honestly kind of a badass. And the ending was devastating. I gave this 5 stars. Obviously, it's about this girl named Mayfly who works as a Disney princess during the day and then is a serial killer during her free time. There is a mouse scene in this, and y'all know that's my biggest phobia, right? I actually like that scene. Like, it stuck with me. I was like, Joey, I can't wait for you to get to the mouse scene. Like, I was waiting with bated breath, you know what I mean? And the cover will make sense by the end of the book. It's just so good, and like the way the ending literally broke my heart. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize this book was gonna affect me the way it did. If you like the Mindfuck series, definitely read this. If you liked A Certain Hunger, you'll probably like this a lot. It's not as dense of writing, but it's like, you know, unhinged woman. Worst book. What was my worst book of the month? I didn't give anything below 3 stars, so honestly, it was a great reading month. What was my least favorite book though? Oh wait, I did give a 2-star. I hate this. I hate saying this, but Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. I listened to it on audio because it's a short-ass audiobook, right? And I wanted to try another Stephen Graham Jones because I did read The Last Final Girl, also gave that 2 stars. Night of the Mannequins, it was exactly what a lot of reviews that I read said about it not being what you expected. Like, I wanted like creepy-ass mannequins that came to life at night because that's what the title suggests, right? And then people were saying that's not what it is. And I'm like, okay, but there has to be something about a mannequin, right? And sure enough there was, but like, it was dumb. The twist was dumb. I didn't like it. I was not entertained whatsoever. I was bored. I just wish it wasn't that. But with that being said, I will still give Stephen Graham Jones more chances, especially because, you know, he's an Indigenous author, so I don't give up on them too easily, you know what I mean? So I do have Mongrels and The Only Good Indians that I want to try because I know those are some of his best work. I do still have hope for Stephen Graham Jones. Non-fiction of the month was Savage Appetites by Rachel Monroe. I'm actually gonna list this on my Pango. I didn't tab in it at all or anything. I actually listened to this on audio because I knew it was one of those books that I was like, I know it's gonna be mediocre and maybe I want to annotate it, but I probably wouldn't, and I'm really glad I listened to it on audio because the parts or chapters or whatever were just too long. I knew I wouldn't be able to read this physically, so I'm glad I went the route that I took. I gave this 4-star. Why did I give this 4 stars? I don't know why I gave this 4 stars, but in my heart it's a 3. I think it did redeem itself in the end, but like the first half was a lot of like about the author type thing. Like it focused on her thoughts, her opinions. It wasn't like objective crime situations. So that's what I didn't like about it. There's plenty of true crime out there. I don't need this one on my shelves anymore. So I will be unhauling this, but this was my nonfiction for the month. I do try to read at least one nonfiction every single month. And then I also try to read on my Kindle at least 1 book a month, and I actually read multiple. So the first one, usually I read our Unmuted and Unhinged Sprints book via my Kindle. If you don't know what that is, it's on my Patreon. It's where my boyfriend Joey and I go live and live react to extreme horror or just horror novellas. We read them in one sitting and y'all hear us live reacting. But it's also like in sprints format, so like we have ambiance going and everything, and y'all could read whatever you want. You're just in the chat to hang out, etc, etc. But it is, you know, obviously spoiler filled because we're reacting and reading lines out loud and blah 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 blah. But my Patreon link's down below if you're interested in things like that. Unmuted and Unhinged is for all tiers, but in the other tiers we have movie nights, and you know, we have readathons for all tiers as well, buddy reads, more exclusive videos with Joey, and just like lifestyle stuff that I don't post on YouTube. We have a Discord that everyone seems to love. We talk on there every single day, every single morning. We say good morning to each other. Sorry if you can hear the kids screaming outside. We should all be used to it by now. I can't wait to get out of this apartment. With all that being said, the first Kindle book I read was Zola by D.E. McCluskey. I gave this 5 stars. It was so gross. It was so gross, and I learned what the word smegma meant. I wish I didn't. I wish I lived my entire life without knowing what that meant, but this book taught it to me. I hated it. The visceral reactions were definitely there. But basically, I don't even know how to explain this. It has very gross descriptions of like cheese, Philly cheesesteaks. It has a thing about this reclusive son and his mom. There's some incestual shit going on also. Some gore and just like gross things happening. It's just gross. Like, it's repulsive, but I gave it 5 stars. So do with that information what you will. I also read Stolen Tongues on Kindle from KU, and this is Joey's copy. We actually buddy read it. This one was one of the scariest books I've ever read. I just hated the ending. I still gave it 5 stars because it genuinely creeped me out. I was looking over my shoulder. I didn't want to read it by myself at night. Like, it was scary, and I can't even imagine what the audiobook sounds like. But basically, this couple goes on a romantic cabin getaway, and it wasn't romantic whatsoever because there was all this creepy shit going on because they're like, you know, in the middle of the mountains or whatever, and there's like just things. There's like hallucinations going on. There are creepy people outside their cabin. There's a lot, okay? I just didn't really like the ending. A lot of people, it loses them by the end, but everything else was great. 5 stars. I was screaming. I was like genuinely shaking at some points. Like, I was scared. I also read King of Pride by Anna Huang. This is the second book in the King of Wrath, in, what is it called? The Kings of Sin series, I think. I 5-starred King of Wrath and also King of Pride. This one didn't hook me as fast as King of Wrath, but by the end I was squealing, swooning, crying. In the epilogue, I'm just gonna say, it did not end in pregnancy like a lot of romance, especially KU romances. I've noticed that a lot of epilogues end with the girl getting pregnant, and I'm just like, this is not a happy ending for me, you know what I mean? So I did appreciate that, and this one also has Filipino rep. Like, there is Tagalog, which is the Filipino dialect that I speak in this book, and I was pleasantly surprised. The representation was pretty cool, and it was pretty accurate, good, whatever. It will also inspire you to want to write a book. The romance was good, the sex scenes weren't cringy. There were a couple cringy things said, but overall, I mean, there's also the touch her and you die trope in some scenes. It was so fucking good. I also read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe via Kindle. I actually bought this ebook. I rarely buy ebooks, but I was not paying $20 fucking on Amazon for this paperback cozy romance thing in this fall small town. It definitely did the job. I gave this 4 stars. It was everything it needed to be. Like, it was cozy, it was romantic, it was cute, all the fall vibes were there. I gave it 4 stars because I wish it were longer. Like, I feel like I didn't get to know the characters really well. I love the characters, don't get me wrong, but like, I just wanted more time with them. I feel like it definitely could have been, it was under 300 pages. So yeah, I mean, the sex scenes were good, the like unique small town quirkiness, those types of scenes were good, the banter was good. I don't think there was anything cringy really. There might have been a couple things, but overall, really loved it. Those were all the Kindle books that I read. Buzzwordathon. So the buzzword for Kayla's annual reading challenge, the Buzzwordathon, was game related words. So like the word game, or in her announcement video, she said the words like first and last are good, like win or lose. So I happened to finish one of my current reads after like months, The Last Beautiful Girl by Nina Lauren. So I picked this up a couple months ago with the intention of doing like a Black Mirror books vlog, because this is Black Mirror meets Darcy Coates meets like Picture of Dorian Gray type thing. I don't hear anyone talking about this, but I read this during my like mini YouTube break. I finished it during my little break, so I don't have a vlog for it, but it's a YA like horror. It has social commentary on like social media and its effects on like mental health and friendships and just like your personality, things like that. It references The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I haven't read yet, but several times. And I mean, I've heard what The Picture of Dorian Gray is about and what happens and stuff, and like there are similar things that happen in here. The main character is very angsty. There are several cringy, unlikable characters in this, but overall it was a super quick read. Like, look at the spacing. And I did tab a bunch because there were some creepy parts. Like, there was this creepy house that they moved into, and then by the end there were a lot of action scenes going on. So I do recommend reading this if any of that sounds interesting. Almost DNF'd it since I was like, okay, it has like a 3 point something average rating on Goodreads and no one really talks about it, so I almost DNF'd. But then I saw a review that said this is everything I wanted Horrid by Katrina Leno to be. There were a couple others comparing it to Horrid, and I loved Horrid, so I got curious and I finished it, and I gave it 3 stars. Just because like I wasn't inclined to pick it up all the time, but eventually when I did binge a bunch of it, I was pretty hooked. I was pretty intrigued. It's just getting past like the juvenile drama and the way the characters acted, specifically the main character. But I'll probably be selling this on Pango as well, which is always linked down below, by the way. And that's it. So, oh, why did I close that? I need that. That was probably the longest recap ever. I'm so sorry. Let's start with rereading, rewriting, or burning. So we have King of Pride by Anna Wong. What's nice is that I already talked about a lot of these books, so I don't like this will go by quicker, you know what I mean? Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, and wow, The Last Beautiful Girl. All 3 I already talked about. I would burn Night of the Mannequins, obviously, because it was my worst book of the month. The Last Beautiful Girl, I think I would rewrite because I would just make the characters less angsty. Maybe if this was an adult novel, I would have given it at least 4 stars. So rewriting this as an adult novel. That's a good answer, right? Cool, solid. King of Pride, obviously I would reread. I loved it, 5 stars. I cannot wait for King of Greed, which comes out on the 24th, I believe. So I will definitely be reading that right away. And y'all know me, I don't read series right away or sequels or whatever. But this, I didn't even know it just came out, but I was like, wow. No, everything just fell. No, that is not what I needed to happen right now. I'm on a time crunch. Joey is out running errands. Okay, next 3. We've got Small Worlds by Caleb Azuma Nelson, The September House by Carissa Orlando. I read a lot of books that start with the letter S. See, all 3 of these. And then Savage Appetites. I noticed that while I was doing like the windowsill wrap-up situation where I put my books, like a lot of them start with S. It's so weird. For September, I would burn Savage Appetites. I don't know why I keep doing burn first. Oh, everything's falling. I don't even care. Burn first, but it's just the easiest option usually. So Savage Appetites I would burn. Oh my god, please. I would reread The September House. I love this book. I gave this 4 stars, I believe. And the only reason I gave it 4 stars is because I predicted, oh man, it was because I kind of predicted one of the twists, but I had a really fun time reading this. Sarah from Sarah's Shelves described it as like season 1 American Horror Story type thing. I've never seen the show, but Joey said that sounds accurate based on like what I've told him about this book. But basically the walls bleed in this house, the husband leaves, and the daughter, the strange, well, not not estranged, but like they kind of just drifted. The daughter comes to visit the mom and helps her figure out what's going on. There's like hauntings in this house. There's a lot going on. Like they talk about all these ghosts and like about this town that they're in, and you know, it sounds like a classic haunted house story, but I feel like it's very unique. I had a lot of fun with this. I would absolutely reread this one day. Small Worlds I would also reread, but I chose to rewrite it in this case because I want it to not revolve around music slash dancing, because I'm not a fan of books that revolve around that other than Daisy Jones, which I always say. But yeah, this revolved around those things, and like some of them I was just like, okay, you're losing me. Caleb Azuma Nelson wrote Open Water. That was one of my best books of 2022. Love his writing. It's so poetic. It's like intentionally poetic, intentionally lyrical, right? So you see a lot of like repetition and things like that, which I kind of have to be in the mood for. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my god, that's beautiful, and some of the times I'm like, okay, we get it. Like this is kind of annoying. But it also like emphasizes those lines and subject matter that it's trying to, you know, portray whatever the messages. I gave this 4 stars. I really wanted it to be 5, but like I said, some of the parts lost me. This took me a long time to read for such a short book. But can we just talk about how well these tabs match the cover? Okay, moment taken. I mean, I do recommend this if you're into like pretty prose, pretty poetic prose. If you liked Open Water, I think you'd still like this. It did do a lot of the second person that I like, but just not, you know, the whole book like in Open Water. Next 3. Some of y'all would be happy to know that I did read The Assassin's Blade this month for the first time. Books I need are the ones that are falling. Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano. Suburban Hell. I have no idea who the author is. I would burn Suburban Hell. I gave that one 3 stars, I believe. I did enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. I listened to it on audio and I thought it was gonna be annoying. I thought the narrator was gonna be annoying because it's like suburban white moms that talk about their problems with their kids and like this and that, but there is like this creepy thing that happens. It was cute. I mean, it talks about like female friendship and everything and the strength of that in this like close-knit community, you know? It was cool. I mean, it took place in Illinois as well, so that's another reason I was skeptical, but it was available on Libby, so I was just like, let me listen to this quick ass audiobook. It was like, I think a 7-hour audiobook or something. So I was pleasantly surprised because I was fully prepared to give it 2 stars, like just from the get-go. But yeah, I was surprised. Gave it 3 stars, but I would still burn it. I would reread The Assassin's Blade. I gave this 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 because a couple of the stories kind of lost me, kind of dragged just a little bit, but overall I was invested. I am invested. I am definitely gonna continue the series. Obviously I have the whole box set of these pretty UK paperbacks. Can we just take a moment? I did leave Throne of Glass out on my one shelf that I didn't pack away yet. If you didn't know, I'm moving at the end of the month, so I have 1 shelf left to choose from for the month. Throne of Glass is on there, so I do have the intention of maybe picking it up before I even move. So there's that, but I did cry a little. I was screaming a lot. I kind of guessed the ending, so I was like prepared, but I also wasn't prepared because who can be prepared for that? You know what I mean? So I did rate each story, and most of them were 4 stars, and then I think the last 2 I gave 5 stars or something like that. There was also this one moment that stuck with me where Selena did that thing but waited an extra minute to do it because she's just that type of person. And also the sewer scene, girl. Yeah, so I would reread this. And then I would rewrite Dead 11, which I gave 3 stars. This was my first read of September. It was a carryover from August. This is also Joey's copy, and I'm glad I didn't buy it. All I'm gonna say. Because we were both so excited for this. The cover is so cool, but I knew, like, I had a weird feeling that, like, it's a debut. It's not gonna, you know, hit all the marks for me. I would rewrite this to make it significantly shorter, like at least 150 pages shorter. It's like 430-ish pages or whatever. It did not need to be that long. These people are like obsessed with the year 1994 and they're like living like it, and then it goes through explaining why. I mean, the chapters are really short, and there's also mixed media, like there are interviews and text messages and letters and stuff, which made it a very quick read. Still needed the audiobook to get through it though because it dragged. I was like, why are they still talking about this? And like when you find out the twist, I said this in my vlog, I think it was the hiking vlog that I talked about this. Once you find out the twist, that's it. There's no like Riley Sager twist after, whoa, there's a bug in here. There's no like Riley Sager twist after twist after twist type of situation. There's only one twist. Then when you find that out, there's still like about 100 pages left, give or take. And it's like, what is there to even find out? Nothing is the answer. It fell flat. It hooked me from the beginning. The prologue is really good. Like, you're intrigued until you're not. That is the verdict on that. Next three. Feed Them Silence by Lee Mandello, which I listened to on audio. Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. And then Zola. Fuck. Okay, I would reread Feed Them Silence. I know, shocker, usually it's the physical books that I reread, but I would reread Feed Them Silence. I would reread it physically. This was such a pleasant surprise. I just randomly, again, picked it up from Libby, or Hoopla, because it was available and it was short, and I wanted to give this author a try, and I knew this novella involved wolves, and I love wolves, but my best description of this is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey or whatever meets Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I don't know if that's the author, but Our Wives Under the Sea. It's just so devastating, so heartbreaking. It's about this collapsing marriage and work-life balance and lack thereof. One person letting go before the other, grappling with that. It's also sapphic. It's sci-fi horror, and I'm not a sci-fi girly, okay? Like, I couldn't tell you anything about what they were doing with the experiments with the wolves or whatever the fuck they were doing with, like, simulations. I don't know. But I will say the nuances that the author articulates in this marriage that's literally collapsing before your eyes, before your ears, whatever, however you're reading it, you know, it got me in a chokehold, and the narrator did such a good job for the audiobook. But yeah, I would definitely read this physically and annotate the shit out of it, because it had some quotes that hit and some relatable moments and some been there done that moments. It was really good. I would highly recommend if you liked Once There Were Wolves or Our Wives Under the Sea. That is the perfect comparison in my humble opinion. But I would rewrite Stolen Tongues, change the ending. That's it. Change the ending. We've already talked about it. And then Zola, I'm happy to burn. Yes, I gave it 5 stars, but like, I don't need to reread this. I don't need this in my life again. I remember it. It'll live rent-free in my head. I don't need it. It can burn. It's fine. There are many extreme horror novellas that I can read that'll give me the same feelings, but it's not gonna be that one anymore. Next three. Tress of the Emerald Sea, my first Brandon Sanderson I read as my Patreon buddy read for September. Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, which I listened to on audio, and The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. Okay. Fuck. I think I would reread The Saturday Night Ghost Club. There were lulls in this book for sure, and it's definitely not really horror. I mean, there are some horror elements, but it's like very coming of age, which is what everyone says about this book. People say it gives Stranger Things vibes. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch a show. I didn't like the episodes that I watched, so just a disclaimer, I did try. And people say it's also like Stand By Me vibes, which I did watch most of with Joey for the first time, like last weekend. There were times when I was like, okay, this sucks. But by the end, I gave this 4 stars, I think. 3 stars, but it was a 2 for a while, and then the end really got me. Like, there's a twist there, and I'm like, whoa, my heart. I just remembered it, like, vividly, and my reaction to it. Yeah, I would absolutely reread this and like see the foreshadowing and everything if there is any. I didn't tab too much for my standards. I do like how it looks with the book. I use like purple and orange. There it goes. Yeah, so this is actually Nick Cutter, Craig Davidson. I don't know which one's his pen name. I think Nick Cutter's his pen name. It was pretty quick of a read. It packs a punch for sure. Basically, there's this ghost club that this kid attends and his uncle runs it. It's like this eccentric uncle, and then you find out why he is the way he is by the end, and it's just also a heartbreaking one. Okay, I would rewrite Tress of the Emerald Sea. I know, like, you can't rewrite Brando Sando, right? Okay, blasphemy, whatever. I gave this 3 stars. I predicted one huge thing, and like, okay, maybe it's like a Princess Bride thing. Like, this is compared to The Princess Bride, right? It's actually inspired by The Princess Bride. And it's like, maybe if you like The Princess Bride, you would have known that too, but I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing and I didn't read it yet, but I did predict something really big, and like I said in my vlog that's not up yet, I did appreciate his breaking of the fourth wall. That wasn't cringy, because a lot of authors try it out and it's cringy. He did it pretty well. His humor was pretty good. I will read more Brandon Sanderson, especially those Mistborn floppy copies. I will get there, but I want to read his secret projects first. I'm glad I started out with this one, so I like knew, you know, I didn't get the FOMO. And it is a pretty book, like with the end pages. There was a talking rat and I didn't mind him. I just don't like books that have that fairy tale vibe anymore. I don't mind some fairy tale retellings, but this felt like one of those like original stories that had a fairy tale vibe. I don't know. I did like the characters though, so that's a plus. That's why it's 3 stars, not anything less. And the character development of Tress was cool, but yeah, it didn't do much for me. And then I would burn Good Bad Girl. I gave it 3 stars, I think, maybe 2. I gave it 3. I don't know why I gave it. I think the main reason I gave it 3 was, one, because it's Alice Feeney and I love her. I love pretty much all her books. I've read all of her books at this point and I've only given a couple 3 stars, but I don't think I gave any below that. They were all 3 stars and above. High 3s. But also there are mothers in this book who talked about not wanting to be a mother. So I did appreciate that because that doesn't happen often in books, right? But there's a missing child and I honestly couldn't tell you much about it. I don't remember the twists at all. It was just confusing and like I knew you were supposed to be confused in the beginning, but it never got better for me. It just continued to be confusing. Like the characters weren't clicking with me. I didn't know who was related to who, whose daughter, whose sister. Like it was disappointing to say the least. I'm just glad I didn't buy it at all. I didn't buy it at all. I didn't buy it full price. I just listened to it on audio through Scribd. Thanks to one of my patrons, Jasmine. Thank you for letting me borrow your Scribd account. Next, we have Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. Yes, that is the author, and it did give Gilmore Girls vibes. And then Blood Orange by Karina Halley. All right, I would reread Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Really enjoyed it, okay? Really enjoyed it. I would definitely reread it. And it was quick, and it was cute, and it gave all the autumnal vibes, like I said. So I would love to read that, you know, even like every other autumn season. I would rewrite Such Sharp Teeth. I gave this 5 stars, but why would I rewrite it? I mean, it's compared to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I think I would be more inclined to reread that because it's quicker than this. I think I would rewrite it. I don't know, did the sister have to be pregnant? I don't think so. She really didn't. It still got 5 stars because it did, again, the sister didn't really want to be pregnant. She talked about how she knows she shouldn't feel bad and she doesn't really feel bad, but she feels bad about not feeling bad about the fact that like it doesn't feel magical to her. Like, she doesn't like her body when she's pregnant. Like she doesn't feel like she's glowing and this and that, you know, that people say. And there was a birthing scene, actually, a little bit. So I'm gonna rewrite that. Just make her not pregnant, okay? And then I did love Blood Orange. I gave it 4 stars, but it's a smutty vampire romance. I can burn it. There are a bunch out there. I did really like this. It's in the same world as Black Sunshine, which I loved. Karina Halley is just queen of vampire smut. And I did buy the sequel called Black Rose. Just this one had such iconic scenes, like the piano scene, the violin bow scene. Yeah, I just really like this and I tabbed a lot in it. I had a really fun time and it had some good lines, had some cringy lines, but 4 stars. But I'd burn it. I mean, I have the sequel, so maybe I won't burn that when I read that, you know what I mean? I've read the Black Sunshine duology, the spin-off called Night Wolf, and then now this, which is the Dracula duet. It did mention some characters from Black Sunshine as well, so I did appreciate that. Okay, we're almost done. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant. I forgot. Oh, Darcy Hannah, I think, is the author's name. And then Tokyo Ghoul Volume 2. All right, would burn Tokyo Ghoul Volume 2. I gave it 3 stars. I gave the first one 4 stars. There are like 14 volumes or whatever, so you know, it's a manga. I didn't like it as much as the first, but I still enjoyed it. It's about human eating ghouls. It did have some like gross horror elements. It is a horror manga, so I did enjoy it, but I would burn it. It's whatever. Ah, Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant kind of sucked though too. Fuck, this batch sucks. Okay, I would rewrite Murder at the Pumpkin Pageant. I don't even remember anything about it. I listened to it because I wanted the fall vibes, and I was reading it at the same time as Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and like I was getting a little bit confused. But like literally no one had, okay, I would give the characters personality because no one had personality besides the dog named Wellington. And it was like this big Newfoundland puppy, right? He was the only one who had a personality. He's the one who drove the story for me. I gave this one 3 stars. Like I said, I listened to it on audio. Yeah, Pumpkin Spice Cafe won every time. I was like, I want fall vibe. Which one should I read? Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Yeah, this was just a cozy mystery. Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I mean, there's this creepy thing that happened at the pumpkin pageant while they were filming something. I don't want to give too much away, but I mean, the mystery overall was okay. But yeah, the characters were just all flat and had the personality of a wall. Yeah, Wellington was the star of the show. And then I guess I would reread this. I gave this one 3 stars too. I mean, I needed the audiobook to get through it despite the huge font. Can't even see the font, but I'm sure y'all know what the inside of this looks like, because everyone has read this on the internet ever. And I do have the sequel, and I did enjoy it by the end. I just wasn't a fan really of the whimsy. Like, everyone loves the whimsy, everyone loves the characters. It took me a while. They grew on me eventually, but yeah, and there were some like betrayal scenes kind of, if I remember correctly, something like that. There were some intense scenes where I was gripped. I hate that I said gripped like that. moving on. I guess I would reread it because it's the only option. It was quick. I guess it was fun by the end. I liked a little, like the middle part. Oh, there's also one character type that's in here, creature, I guess, that I really love. So that was a pleasant surprise. If you like whimsical vibes, you'll love this. And it was quick and it had mixed media, so that was fun. I knew I wasn't gonna be as obsessed as everybody on the internet, but I gave it a shot, whatever. And I'll read the sequel and I'll finish the trilogy. But we have 2 more and they're gonna be wild cards, so anything goes. Oh my god, Mayfly and Sharkheart, shut up. Sharkheart, where's Mayfly? Okay, I would reread Mayfly and rewrite Sharkheart. Obviously, Mayfly, best book of the month, already talked about her. I would love to give her more camera time, whatever, but she'll be fine. Sharkheart, I gave 4 stars. It was so close to being a 5. And then there was this whole part, like 100 pages about a different character, and then another part about a different character. And I was like, I just wanted the couple. It's a love story. I wanted the couple, the main couple, Lewis and whatever the fuck her name is, and Ren. I wanted it to be all about them the entire time. But then there was a shift. There were multiple shifts. It's one of those super quick books. Like, it's one of those super quick books that have a lot of white space. So it went by so quickly. Like, I flew through this book, and the first like 100 pages I was so convinced it was gonna be on my top 10 of 2023. But oh my god, perfect, Joey's home. I'm almost done!
Okay, you're not done yet?
Perfect timing though. But yeah, I would rewrite it to just keep it as Lewis and Ren. If you don't know what this is about, it's this like dystopian world where these mutations happen to certain people, and our main character Lewis, well, our main male character, turns into a shark pretty rapidly, like pretty early in the book, okay? So if you're waiting for a slow burn, like no, the shark happens right then and there. It's really sad and heartbreaking because, like, you know, it's a terminal illness. Yeah, and then there's this lady that comes out of nowhere who's pregnant with twin birds. It's a weird ass book. But if you like weird books, I guarantee you'll like the writing in this. It hit the feels, is all. All right, that's all. Let me know if you've read these books, if you agree, disagree, whatever you feel in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, what should we put? Oh no, my camera. What emoji?
A cow.
A cow emoji in the comments down below, per Joey's request. I don't fucking know, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe and stay spooky always, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.
Bye.